Oh, wanna change your life? Come see me, yo. I'ma teach you how to build up wealth for your family, not just for yourself. I'm a bestseller, a house flipper, a businesswoman, a go-getter, a big investor, a gold builder that can teach you to get richer like millions, baby. You really about to fill your savings. You about to have multiple streams to pass your children, baby. Let me teach you to get your credit on track in the long run. You'll make it all back at Catalyst and watch it all psychology black-owned firm, but we ain't all black.
Okay. Y'all, I don't know what be going on with the system, but when I went ahead and did the intro, it did something kind of weird. So hopefully you guys can see me. Hopefully it's real time. Hopefully I ain't blurry. But y'all, I got some stuff to talk about today, and I have some highly intellectual black people in here today. I'm excited. I'm super excited, and I'm ready to have this conversation because I think it's important. And as I've been talking to a lot of people, this has been a question that I think is in a lot of people's conversations, is where are all the black leaders during this time of crisis, during this time of turmoil? You know, you have America is on fire, both figuratively and literally. America is on mother effing fire. We are in HE double hockey sticks. But even before I start, I want to welcome to you to Fly Nubian Queen Network. I want to welcome you to I Am Constance Carter. So whatever platform, I'm on about 8 or 9 platforms right now. If you're following Dr. Boyce Watkins, make sure you subscribe to his channel. Subscribe to my channel too. I Am Constance Carter. And also I want you to subscribe to the Fly Nubian Queen. That's the first thing. The second thing is, it's so important. It is imperative. It is muy importante that we black people, with everything that's going on, that we start practicing what? Collective economics. Because the only way that we are going to get ahead, the only way that we're going to make it as a people is if we start doing business with one another. As you see, they are pulling back DEI in all the different stores and all the different companies, you know, and you know, it was disingenuous in the first place because the only reason why they did it was because they were getting corporate benefits to do it. You know, you have companies like Target, like Walmart, that as soon as it wasn't popular anymore, they took it back. Okay. So it was disingenuous to begin with. You do have companies that I worked for, like Hewlett Packard, HP, that always had DEI initiatives in, because what they understand and what they realize is that when we can foster an inclusive environment, then our morale goes up, we have stronger productivity, we have more loyalty, and we have less turnover. That is the truth. But America is so sick with racism that they would rather have cold, stark, abusive work environments just to keep the idea of supremacy in place, to keep certain people oppressed. And that's the unfortunate thing. And what they're going to see is the fallout of them not wanting to be inclusive. But the reason why I brought this up is because the only way we can curb that, or only way we can be insulated from those actions, is if we work together. So put your business, if you have a business, a product, or a service, I want you to put it in the chat. Why? Because I want you to be able to do business with one another. I want you to be able to look at each other and go to each other first. Solomon Barrow, a Jewish leader, he said the reason why Jews are less than 0.5% of the population in America, but they own 50% of the wealth, is because why? They practice collective economics. They always look to their communities before they go outside. Okay. If you look at the dollar circulation, when we had the most prominent communities, you know, like Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Greenwood, Rosewood, the dollar circulated a year before it left. Now, Jews, 30 days, Asians, 20 days, white, 17 days, Hispanic, 11 days, Black, 6 hours. So now you have these companies that say, we don't even care about doing business with Black people. We got to figure out how we can do business together. And I have a couple of ideas, but I do want you to put your businesses in the comments, because I want to put it on here and I want to shout you out, because we have thousands of people who watch this every day. Number one. Number two, you know, I like for you to talk back to me and talk Black to me. So I want to know where you're watching from. Where are you hailing from? Because I know we have people that watch from all over the country and all over the world. So I want to shout you out. Are you in the East Coast, West Coast, or California, Chicago? Are you in Europe? Put that in the comments, because I want to make sure that I shout you out. I see Dr. J. Oh, I love Dr. J. Dr. J is actually part of the Net 7 Collective. She is a general practitioner, a physician, and she is a holistic health doctor. But I also want to, who else? I see you, Double A. She's always on the Fly Nubian Money Show. Thank you for being here today. I see, let's see, who is that? Queen Imani from Chicago. I see DJ K2 from Atlanta. I see who else? Jenno from Charleston, South Carolina. All right. So before we get started, I want to bring up my co-host because there's so much to unpack here. And again, please make sure you put your where you're from, and if you have a product or service, make sure you put it in the comments, because I want to celebrate you Black people. I want to celebrate your Black business, and I want to make sure you get as much visibility and exposure as humanly possible. The only way we're going to get there is if we do it together. All right. So I want to invite my beautiful, lovely, and amazing. I'm loving that lipstick, honey.
I put a little lip on this morning.
I love it. And you look so nice and clear.
Good.
I love it.
Good morning. I'm in the gym. What's up, y'all?
What is up? Hey, everybody needs to get into the gym. Everybody needs to learn how to grow their money and not blow the money, because you blow your money, it ain't a damn thing funny. The whole purpose of this is not only to teach you how to grow your money, but teach you how to grow your wealth. You know, wealth building is imperative, but it's not just about money. Money is just a small portion of the currency that we talk about when we talk about building wealth. It's about your mind, your body, your soul, your spirit, everything, your family, the people, your relationships, all of that is wealth. So that's what we talk about when we talk about getting in the gym every morning at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. So I want to ask my girl, my co-host, Miss Black Hollywood, how was your weekend this weekend?
My weekend was good. It was really I didn't do much. I just kind of was getting ready for all these things that we're doing with the podcast and putting together topics and getting ready. I mean, it feels like the season to get to work.
Yeah.
We had a training at the Fly Nubian Money Club around AI.
Yes, that was great.
The power of AI with Athena Gardner. If you were not there, you missed a treat. She taught Black people how to, she went through the whole process of starting a business all the way to the end. If anybody was in the training, let me know. Like, put it in the chat. If you were in the training at the Fly Nubian Money Club, I want to know. Go ahead and put how it made you feel. How was it for you? But it was wonderful. Wonderful.
Yes, it was absolutely wonderful. I learned some things. I left Athena a voicemail message afterwards, and I just told her how proud I was of her, because I learned some things. Number one, so it's always good to learn some things. Number two, right after we got off, I have a group chat with the ladies of the Net 7 Collective, and they said, somebody texted and said, hey, I was just on this AI training, and one of the things that we could do for such and such and such. And so it was great, because they took some of the information from what they learned in that training. That's number two. And number three, I was like, these are the things that I teach not only in the Net 7 Collective, but I teach it in the B1 Real Estate Mastery. So it was confirmation that for the people who were on there, that your girl know a little bit about what she's talking about. So it was so great. Yeah.
You know what I also did, Constance? I created something, right, where I wanted to, we talked about this over the weekend, starting a directory. So for the people in the chat, don't put just your business and your information in the chat. Email me. I've started a directory. Literally hundreds of people have emailed me over the weekend, which was stressful, but but I'm so excited to be starting this directory. So email me your information. There's my email address right there. I'm at info@realvirtual.net. And I will put your information in our Fly Nubian Money directory. And and we'll start sending it out.
So tell us, what is this directory about? A little bit about the directory.
Right.
And what inspired it?
Yes. So I was having a conversation with Constance this weekend about everything that happened in that first week, right? DEI rollbacks. What are we going to do, right? What are we going to do about the DEI rollbacks? I think the Target thing had happened where they had started, adhering to these new policies that Trump is trying to put in place, shutting down Black history, shutting down, it feels like the Black community. That's what it feels like. It feels like he's trying, not even trying, he's doing everything in his power to make sure that we are back where we started. And so I, when I talked to Constance about it, I was like, what are we going to do? She was like, we got to get a warehouse. We got to compete with Amazon. I said, whoa.
I was ready.
Whoa. We can't do that. We can't do that tomorrow. What can we do tomorrow? This one, I don't know which way she is, but she was like, we got to get a warehouse. We got to figure out shipping. We got to get products in the warehouse. I was like, but what can we do today? And so my answer to that was, if we can't shop at Target, if we can't shop at Walmart, if we have to boycott these bigger companies, are we prepared? Are we equipped to do that? The answer is maybe not. But how will we? The only way we would know that is if we start to collect businesses and then shoot them out to you all, letting you know if there's businesses in the area, if you need pads, if you need whatever. I'm thinking the small things, Constance, because
I
right
love
now
that.
black people make apparel. We make soaps and butters. We make things that we don't. If I need a vacuum, where do I go? Is
Right.
there a black? You know what I'm saying? If I need things, where do I go? Is there a black owned company that owns it? So
Yeah.
so I think that was my biggest concern. But what we can do today, Black people, is put a directory together and try to patronize Black businesses as much as possible.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's so good. Listen, action takers. See, that's what I love about you, Tierra, is that it's like, listen, I'm not just going to have an idea or sit on it or wait for somebody else to do it. I'm going to take action. And that's the thing that we need to do as Black folks is we need to take immediate and fast action, because guess what? They are taking action.
Yeah.
Trust and believe they are taking action. And they're also playing the long game, because you got to think about what we see in front of us is Project 2025
Yeah.
playing out right before our faces. But Project 2025 has been in effect since in the 80s.
Yeah.
So we got to get out of this microwave society. We got to get out of this fast thinking, fast money, get rich quick. We got to start playing the long game, Black people. And I understand the thought behind how we are. You got to look at the psychology, Tierra. You got to look at the psychology of Black people, because every time we've taken 2 steps forward, we've been knocked 10 steps backwards. And you look at the history of what's happened in this country, after the Reconstruction, after the Civil War, Black people, we started, there was 16 members in Congress, Tierra. There were communities all over the country that were like these right here. Watch this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have all these affluent communities, and what's happened is every time we've gotten some level of affluence, the powers that be, whether it be through eminent domain, whether it be through urban renewal projects, whether it be them just being jealous of bombing and burning our communities down, every time we tried to take a step forward, they pushed us back. And so it's so important that we look at the long-term game, but I understand the psychology of why Black people want to get rich quick, because every time we try to go forward, we get pushed back.
Yeah.
And so I'm so grateful for people like you who are fast action takers. Okay, here's the problem. What's the solution? What are we going to do? How are we going to change things? How are we going to change the tone? And so when we talk about where are the Black leaders, we got to look at ourselves. We got to look at us as being the ones that have to be the difference maker,
Yeah.
And when I look at let's take a walk down memory lane, because in order for us to really get an idea of where we're going, Tierra, we got to know where we've been. And we've had many Black leaders over the course of this country. We've had a lot of people who've stepped up into these leadership positions. But every time you see there was a Black leader like Marcus Garvey, you see that there was an investigation by the federal government. He was the founder of the Universal Negro Improvement Association. Many of you guys know Marcus Garvey. In fact, Marcus Garvey, fun fact, Tierra, Marcus Garvey's niece is in my real estate mastery training. She's one of my students. Pretty cool. Right? She's an attorney.
That's cool. I love that.
Yeah. Pretty dope. But he was targeted with surveillance, false accusations, and eventually in prison. You got Malcolm X. We all know about Malcolm X. Okay, he was a Black leader that was targeted by the government. Angela Davis. I love Angela Davis's afro. Listen, Angela Davis. Oh, okay. Here's another fun fact. There's a lady, and I don't know if she's watching. She's in the upcoming cohort of the Net 7 Collective. She was actually she was part of the movement, and she actually was exiled in Cuba for 7 years and did 10 years in prison. But she was part of the movement. Totally dope. I love these ladies. And then Martin Luther King, of course, he was targeted and he was under surveillance. Now, Tiara, one of the things that we see, I don't know if this was real. Did you receive that part of the released files for Dr. Martin Luther King? Did you see that?
I did. I did. And I thought that, so first of all, like I saw what it said. It's so disrespectful. Even if these are the files, y'all, think about who wrote them. I just don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. The CIA was responsible for his murder. And so you think that they're going to put all these wonderful things in his files? You think that's going to be like, they're not going to be embellishing? I don't believe it. It's fake news to me.
They were salacious. It was disgusting.
Yep.
And the only thing that Donald Trump is trying to do is tarnish the reputation of Martin Luther King by him declassifying those files.
Yep.
The only thing he's trying to do is ruin his reputation. But we ain't gonna let it. We ain't gonna let it. We know that Martin Luther King was a man. He was a man, right? Look at Fred Hampton. This brother was 23 years old. 23 years old, a Black leader in Chicago. That was the FBI. Let me tell you this: the FBI. Let me just tell you what COINTELPRO was. Now look at J. Edgar Hoover. This was a Black man who hated his black man, who hated his blackness. He hated his blackness. He hated being Black so much that he had an all-out attack against Black people. Yeah. But COINTELPRO was a series of covert and illegal projects concluded between 1956 and 1971 by the FBI, aimed at surveilling, infiltrating, discrediting, and disrupting American political organizations that the FBI perceived as subversive. Government targeting was Fred Hampton was labeled a threat by the FBI's COINTELPRO due to his ability, listen to this, to unite diverse groups and communities. The FBI worked to sow division within the Black Panther Party and collaborated with Chicago police. Because why? His ability to unite diverse groups and communities. They murdered that boy. He was 23 years old. They murdered him because of his ability to unite diverse groups and communities.
That's right.
And then you have Huey P. Newton. He was the leader of the Black Panther Party. He was one of the co-founders, and they targeted him. So Tiara, I see why. It's really hard for people to step up into the place of leadership, or even wanting to.
Yeah.
Because when they did, what happens?
Yeah, it's dangerous. I mean, we can also see that with our living legends. The Honorable Minister Farrakhan, Dr. Clark Anderson. These people have been. I'm so proud that I've gotten to see Minister Farrakhan just be him and put together these plans. I was in Chicago listening to one of his talks. I've been able to interview him. I've been able to sit and talk to him. And the perspective that I had before I met him was very influenced by what the world had told me about this man, that he was about to be hateful and he hates Jews, he hates this. But when you sit down with him, he is so loving. He is so loving. He leads with love and he loves the Black community. So he was sitting down thinking about how we could purchase land as a community, and he had put together this whole strategy. But it obviously that didn't come to fruition. And that was in 2013 when I sat down with him in Chicago. And there was this whole very detailed plan that the Nation of Islam had for the Black community. And, obviously we see what happened. He was like, okay, I can't get money from Black celebrities, so I'm just going to go straight from the Black people. It was like $30 a year, right?
Are you serious?
Yes, that was the plan from like, not even all Black people. It was like some Black people, right?
A year?
$30 a year, taking the money and buying land growing crops on that land. His whole thing was, we got to get in on this international trade. Black people is not in. You know, we get certain things from Cuba, certain things from I'm sorry, not Cuba, Colombia, Mexico. You know, we're getting all of these things from other people, but Black people are not benefiting from that. And I said, But I mean, I guess my point is that he's been silenced. I mean, people won't listen at every turn. Uh, Minister has been silenced, and so I saw that it's just it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard cross to bear.
Yeah.
Becoming a leader in the Black community is a hard cross to bear.
Yeah. You're right. But you know, a lot of Black people have laid down their lives. And you think about Minister Farrakhan, you said $30 a year,
It was
Tiara?
like $36 a year, time like a million. That, like, he had put out the amount of the land, which wasn't much, how much we would need to, like, just be. He was like, we already know where the land is. We can build things on there. We can build stores on there, distribution centers. It was like a whole thing, but it was like $36, or maybe it was $36. I think a year, but I'm gonna say a month. But I know it was like a year, y'all. But something that we spend, it's a no brainer.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And then you think about, listen, so again, every time we take 2 steps forward, they push us 10 steps backwards. Because look at Gaddafi pledged $1 billion
A
to
billion.
Black America in 1995. And guess what the federal government did? It said no. He pledged financial support to the Nation of Islam. He pledged financial, he made a financial pledge to Pan-African solidarity and Africa's financial independence. And he was shut down.
By the Clinton administration. You know, Clinton was so cool to Black
He
people.
was
He
our
was
first
like,
Black president, right?
huh?
He was our first Black president, right?
Yeah, but he wasn't that Black. You know,
Right,
I
exactly.
think we drunk the Kool-Aid and was like, he's so cool. He's on Arsenio Hall. He's
Playing the
with the
saxophone.
people. Meanwhile, there was all of these things going on, behind the scenes that he wasn't allowing us to benefit from.
And then you look at Biden's what was that? Biden's what was that act Biden did to incarcerate all the Black folks, all the Black men, and then what was that? What was it called? I know you know.
Yeah. Let me
Man,
see.
yeah. But you look at those things, and those things were done intentionally to destroy the Black community every time. So you look at housing. The number one way to build wealth is through real estate. So you don't give us housing every time we and then we were segregated at that time. So they already weren't giving us loans. They weren't giving us financing. So we had to figure out a way, Tiara, to build wealth on our own. And then when we find a way to build wealth, then you want to destroy it. You want to do urban renewal programs. You want to do eminent domain. You want to put freeways through our neighborhoods, or you want to just bomb it and burn it down. Just on GP, right? Just because you don't want us to have anything. Then you look at, crack cocaine. Oh, let's talk about crack cocaine, because there was a gentleman named Gary Webb, and he wrote an article in the San Jose Mercury News, I'm from San Jose. He wrote an article exposing the CIA. Now, if you guys ever watched Snowfall is kind of based upon that, right? He exposed the connection between the CIA, Nicaragua, and Contra, and the crack cocaine epidemic in the U.S. So he exposed the CIA putting drugs in our community. He lost his job. And he committed suicide, Tiara. You know how he committed suicide? He shot himself twice in the back of the head.
How do you do that?
The coroner's report said he shot himself twice in the back of the head by suicide.
Right.
Yeah. So you think about all these targeted efforts, and so it's kind of hard. It really is hard, when you look at the Colin Kaepernicks who will take a knee and things like that. But you know what? I want to bring our guests on so we could just kind of open up the dialogue about what this looks like for our community and why. Where is the Black community? Where are the Black leaders, and why aren't they stepping up? That's what I want to know. That's the question I have for y'all. So our first guest is Kimberly Booker. Hey, Kim. She is the founder of the ALB Child Safety Foundation, and she's also, you're located in the DMV area. And so I wanted to have this conversation because we've had this. This is a personal friend of mine. And she's so smart. She's brilliant. And so I love the way she thinks. And I wanted to engage her and have this conversation with her as well, because I think it's a profound question. Where are the black leaders, Kim?
Uh-oh. We can't hear you, Kim.
We can't hear you. Is she muted?
No. She's not muted.
Okay.
Okay, we can't hear you.
Get yourself together and come back. But I want to ask the audience, because did we even ask the audience? Did we ask the audience, where are the black leaders, y'all? Where are the black leaders? Are they doing things on a grassroots level? Would you consider Obama to be a black leader? Would you consider Kamala to be a black leader? Where are the black leaders? That's the question. As soon as we brought her on, she got froze up. Where are the black leaders? Bring it up to eye level. Where are the black leaders? So that's what I want to know. There she is. She's back.
Okay, she's back. All right, cool.
Kimberly.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
We still can't hear you.
Okay, go out and come back in.
Yeah, go out and come back in.
Turn your camera to the side.
And turn your camera to the side.
To the side.
Sophia said we don't have any. The 3 strikes law, but it was I know she's talking.
It was the crime bill.
The crime bill that said that if you have crack cocaine, then you get way more time than if you have regular cocaine. That you have powder cocaine. If you have a rock, then you get more time. Well, that was specifically targeted towards black people. And black men are super predators, and so then you incarcerated black folks at record levels. Black people don't. You guys do realize black people don't do most of the crimes. We just get convicted 20 times more than your white person. So this is all by design. This is part of the 13th Amendment to keep black people incarcerated, or keep black people enslaved, because the 13th Amendment said that slavery is abolished except for in the instance of incarceration. And this is all by design. And we have to figure out a way to come together to say, okay, what do we do? What is next for us? How can we be insulated? Because there is a concerted effort, Tierra, there is a concerted effort by the Trump administration to destroy black people, to take away our rights and our freedoms, to silence us, to exclude us, to stop us from building wealth. There is a concerted effort to destroy black people.
Man,
so
the question is energy. Where the Trump supporter energy? Y'all I know y'all thought he had a plan for us before y'all voted for him. So I just want to see in the comments, like, what part of the game is this? Is there a, like, what is this what you voted for? Like, tell us what the plan is, because they were like, Trump got a plan and he's gonna do it for black people. Tell us what part of the plan this is so we can be cool. But I actually think this is good for us, Constance. I think that, we've been living in a bit of a fog, and we've been sleeping. The Democrats have put us to sleep and kind of like put us in this false sense of like comfort. And unfortunately, like we see that today is a new day. And so it's going to either force us to band together, or we will perish as a people. We will perish if we don't come together. And so I think that's a good thing. We need to come together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Andrew said, where are you getting this information, or is this your opinion? These are actually facts. So I did a TED Talk. It's called Google That Shit. You should try it. All you got to do is go on the internet. Everything that I said, everything that we both just were talking about, these were all facts. These statistics are all facts. So what percentage, I forget what percentage did black men, I think 20% of black men actually voted for Trump. 92% of black women voted for Kamala. So, that's why we get so upset. And I know, there are a lot of black men, especially who listen to us, that did not vote for Trump. But that's why we get so upset. And that's why we say, as black women, we're going to sit this one out, because you guys did this, if it really happened. Now, I do have my opinion, Tierra, about the election. I don't believe that Trump won the election fairly. I don't believe it. I agree with you. And I don't understand why the Democrats aren't demanding a recount, aren't looking into maybe voter fraud or election fraud. I don't know why, or maybe they are. Perhaps they are doing it behind the scenes and they're not making a big stink of it. But the fact that they just allowed, now we know good and goddamn well that in 2000 the election wasn't rigged, the election wasn't stolen. But yet Donald Trump acted a fool and he created a riot, and that's when the January 6th riots happened, because he convinced these people that the election was stolen. Now, what did he say in Pennsylvania? What did he say, Tiara, in Pennsylvania?
He said that Elon is really good at computers, and thanks to Elon for being so good at computers.
He didn't say thank you to the voters. He said, what?
Thank you, Elon, for being good with the computers.
Okay. That's actually what he said. He said, thank you to Elon Musk for being good with the computers. That's why he was able to win Pennsylvania. So I don't know if this is a Freudian slip, but this is like playing out right in front of our eyes. What is going on? And are we in the freaking goddamn Twilight Zone?
Absolutely, we are. You already know. And people are still just in the comments. Like, people in the comments, they're like, where are you getting this information? Like, Trump can say something. That's the crazy thing about Trump supporters. It's like, he can say something and it just goes like right over their heads. And they say, that's not what he said. It's like we're gaslit. Every day I feel gaslit by America.
I do too. It's crazy because it's like I don't know if this is a reason why I don't even like to debate with people. Like when you have these far right wing people, they could see something in their face and then they will swear it's something different. It's great. It's literally like the Twilight Zone. Like, you could be like I don't know if you guys saw that video about George Floyd. Now we saw Derek Chauvin with his knee on his neck. We saw him murdering George Floyd. We saw that. It was live and in living color. And then we see these right-wing people saying he's going to get his justice. He did not murder George Floyd. He didn't. It's like I don't know if they just see something different, or they want to see, or they make up these lies in their mind to say that, it's, I don't understand, but it's just, it's crazy. And so I don't even argue with these people anymore, because I just the level of crazy that happens when you have these conversations and these dialogues. There's Miss Kim.
Can you all hear me now?
Yes.
The devil is a lie. Hear me?
Yes.
The devil is a lie. And so is technical difficulties.
It's always good when we're live. You just don't know what kind of technical difficulties we gonna have.
If I may chime in right where you ladies were with regards to Trump and his initiatives. I think that because we are so plugged in with media and social media and different TV channels and such, we're able to hear all the noise, right? Unlike 20, 30 years ago, you used to only be able to hear the noise that CBS, ABC, or NBC gave you. But now we can hear all kinds of noise, all kinds of angles. And I think that we can't negate the fact that we have so many podcasts, so many TV stations, so many radio stations to bring us in all this information. The fact of the matter to me is Trump is no more an idiot than some of the previous presidents. We just get to see him from all angles and hear all the noise now. Whereas we only came to know how absolutely off base, disconnected previous presidents were with today's technology. But what Trump is attempting to do is strategic. He has honed in and focused in on the minority population because that's what feeds his base. As long as he can make it seem like he has his proverbial foot on the necks of people of color, on the necks of the less than, then not only does it feed his ego, but it feeds the collective ego of the base. But here's where he should have checked with Tyrone in the mailroom. We always use that term. His base does not connect with Elon Musk. His base does not connect with the row of billionaires. So what he's about to do is actually cause infighting. And this, to me, is where the people of color get to stand back with our popcorn and watch. Because you can't make a person whose family was always in the coal mines connect with electric cars and Elon Musk and SpaceX. The two can't coexist. But those were the people, that working class, that blue collar class, those were the people that carried him to where he is today. And I think what we're about to see is that infighting. So to me, your question was, what do we do? Well, part of what we do, I want to use that term that Chris Rock made popular, selective outrage. We need to be very strategic in where we place our outrage because we're a different culture now. We are not the marchers of Birmingham. We are not made of the cloth of our ancestors. As soon as we begin to march, and I'm saying collectively, as soon as Black people take to the streets, all it takes is a little bit of rain and half of us are going to run. All it takes is a little bit of inconvenience. All it takes is for us to say, okay, you guys, we're going to march further than 6 blocks. Now we're going to march 2 miles. We're going to lose half the people. And that's unfortunate because our forefathers were willing to do whatever it took, however it took. And we're just not, unfortunately, cut from that collective cloth. So to me, the strategies of solution need to be very real. We need to really consider, what do we look like today and where are our leaders? That's the topic here. But we are missing the DNA that it takes to build up leaders collectively. We're missing the DNA, which will change our mindset. So even imagine this, Constance, and I'm going to be quiet right after this. Imagine if we had a Rosa Parks of 2020, 2022. Imagine if we had a Frederick Douglass of this time. Imagine if we had a Martin Luther King of this time, of this generation. Who to vote for, we wouldn't have had the disparity because we would have had leaders that were leading the whole time, that we had confidence in, that we knew were leading us to a beneficial end. So we would not have been so dissected in who and what and why to vote. But because we're missing the DNA of a leader, collectively, we have all these segments. We have all of this disdain within people of color.
Okay. So there's a whole lot you said that I really want to unpack, Kim. You said we're not the same leaders. You said we can't, you said, if we had the Frederick Douglass of today, if we had the Rosa Parks of today, somebody said, I'm not marching. April Phillips said, I'm not marching. Marching is ineffective and I ain't marching around my goddamn block. I'm just not going to do it. And when you think about Colin Kaepernick, and you see, I don't even see people take a knee no more. And I think, Terry, you said that you still boycotting in the NFL. Like, you're the only one still boycotting NFL. Like, Black people.
I believe I'm the only one.
Huh?
Yeah, you might be by yourself.
I'm the only one.
Yeah. So we have the selective outrage, or we have the short-term memory span. It's the outrage of today. We shaking our fist today, but as soon as it becomes inconvenient for us, we didn't even get the brothers in the NFL to take a knee with Colin Kaepernick because nobody Black people don't want to stand on business because we're afraid that it affects our bottom line.
Exactly.
It's me.
So then where do the leaders come from?
I want to just give a shout out to Dr. Boyce Watkins because I think that Boyce, to me, it's in a different way, but I've watched this man for the last 14 years of my life go out and love Black people in a different way, right? Yeah. He's the one that introduced me to, like I said, Minister Farrakhan and had me sitting on panels with Dr. Cornel West. And he loved Black people for real. He's disciplined. And even though it's around finance, I think finance is what Black people need, right? So to me, men like him, it's hard to be as disciplined as maybe Boyce has been, because it requires a lot of discipline. And not saying that black people don't have discipline, but there's a lot of black men that don't have that. Like, you know, sometimes I talk to Boyce and he'd be like, man, last night, as a matter of fact, I was talking to him yesterday. He was like, when I was in school, you know, the black students didn't understand me. I studied for 8 hours a day, between 5 and 8 hours a day. I just studied every day, you know, and so we just don't, like you said, I'm just looking at someone in real time do it. And again, it's around finances, but I think black people need, that's what we need. We need
Yeah.
financial education. And so you know, at this point I'm looking at people like Jasmine Crockett. I'm looking at people that have the potential to be the fire that we need for the black
Mm-hmm.
community. I
Mm-hmm.
just wonder,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when Boyce, and I'm going back to Boyce for a second, when he reached out to the White House, they didn't want to bring Boyce to the White House. You know, when people reached out to him, he said, well, this is what we need for the black community. They didn't make those. If initially they were talking about meetings, the Biden administration stopped, or, you know. So I just think that it's important to understand that, like, people that are really loving black people for real, the government, you know, those political parties don't really want to talk to them. They want to talk to the people
Mm-hmm.
that'll just like, that'll just be fluid.
What do they
You know
Yes.
call
what
it?
I mean?
Panda bears, the panderers. But you know, you
Yeah.
said something.
Mm-hmm.
You said something really profound here. You said black men don't got the discipline. You said black men,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna bring a black man on here, Mr. Mark Adams. What's up, Mark? Mark is in his car. Mark,
Can you put your phone to the side, Mark?
can you
Good
turn your
Phone to
morning.
the side. Okay, is that
Yes.
better?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I'm figuring this out. Okay, this is all a
It's
little
all
new to
good.
me.
It's all good. Good
Mark
I'm glad to
morning.
be
Adams.
on this line. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you
Good
guys.
morning. Mark Adams
Come.
is hailing from California, Sacramento, California. He is a business leader. He is a very successful business leader. He's a mentor. He's a coach. He's a trainer. He's all the things, and he's a good friend of mine who's done a lot. We've done a lot of business together, made a lot of money together. And I wanted to get the perspective of an intelligent black man on here, because you said black men ain't disciplined. What do you think about that, Mark?
I think, you know, first of all, let me say this. I am profoundly proud of what you are doing in this space. You
Mm-hmm.
guys asked, where are the black leaders? And I'm currently looking at them. I am profoundly, what Kim just brought up is kind of case in point about what needs to happen. And my biggest question I always ask people, I said, what defines a black leader?
Mm-hmm.
And have we defined it? Have we defined it? Has this
Mm-hmm.
group sat
Mm-hmm.
down and wrote a list of what we are looking for in our black leaders? Because right
Right.
now, black leadership is told to us and it's sold to us and it's put in front of
Mm-hmm.
us every day.
Mm-hmm.
And we
Mm-hmm.
accept it, right? And, you know, we always talk about the talented 10th. And I always say the talented 10th is being led by the untalented 90th, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we're pissed off with Soldier Boy and
Uh-oh.
Snoop Dogg and Rick Ross, because and all we're pissed off with them because we're looking at them saying, oh, that is what has been told to us and sold to us as our leaders. And
Right.
unfortunately, what you see is a lot of people actually leading the charge. They're not out in front, right? We
Right.
have lost
Mm-hmm.
all context of what media is for us. What I grew up on Jet and Ebony magazine, right? My goal in life was to be on the cover of Fortune magazine because I want to be on the cover of Ebony, right? Where is all that, right? I did some research today and I said, who owns Zeus Network, right? Any black media chain out there, who owns it? Do they want us to see what black excellence looks like? No, they don't, right? And so when we talk about the discipline, you won't see the discipline of the black leadership because it's not put out there. Our
It's not
algorithms don't show
televised.
what black
Mm-hmm.
leadership looks like, right?
Right.
You know, the
Right. Right.
biggest case with TikTok is they got pissed off that TikTok was showing all the American kids all the bullshit, and excuse my language, that was going on that we do, right? And they were saying over in China, they show them learning how to fly spaceships, right? And
Right.
so our
Right.
algorithms
Right.
were
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
showing
Yep.
what we wanted to deem as being black success. So you won't see a brother like me on your Instagram algorithm talking about the stuff that's beneficial for leadership and how we move in that space. Sometimes we have to move in silence. And I'm a silent leader. Like the work that I do in my community is for the empowerment of my people. Because for one thing, I'm almost fearful, right? There's this thing called social detriments of health, which basically says there's economic and social things that are killing us daily. This conversation about DEI and Trump, for that matter, is killing us. I haven't been able to look at the news in the media because I had to balance what I call post-traumatic Black disorder, because I had to focus on what was important for me to get my head right to run this race, to be successful in what's going on, because I could see the silver lining in it. DE&I was never about Black people. They just made it to scapegoat for Black people. DE&I, and it's going to stab them in their face, was the betterment and improvement of white women, right? LGBTQ. And I have no issue with that. Go ahead and do your thing, right? But we're the face of what DE&I is. And I'll be damned if you call me a DE&I hire. I won't accept it. I won't acknowledge it, right? But it had nothing to do with us. It has nothing, but we're the scapegoats of it. And we continue to allow it to have power over how we see and how we plan to move forward. I got a plan in my head, and I'm still trying to figure it out and iron it out about what it looks like. My conversation will be, hey, let's get together and let's define what we want to see in our Black leaders, because our Black leaders can't be bought. We can't be bought. If we're going to put together a platform that's going to sell Black products, what's going to stop us from saying Elon Musk comes and say, well, I'm going to give you $52 billion for your platform, and we sell it off? That's what happens. We get bought. So Black leaders back in the day, they couldn't be bought off. And when they were exposed. So anybody you see, in my eyes, this is just my opinion, anybody you see that we are defining as Black leaders who have TV and media presence, they've damn near been bought.
Yeah.
And that's a broad statement to say, but they've damn near been bought because they have all the airtime, right?
So Mark, what do we do? What's the answer?
I've always said this: never come on nothing without a solution, right? It's a long-term conversation, and somebody else said this: we have to do the long-term play, right? And so this podcast, these comments, these chats, we should start saying, what does it look like for our Black leaders? How do we define it? What makes a Black leader for me? My number one rule as a Black leader is I shouldn't be bought. I can't be bought. There is no money in the world that's going to buy me, right? What does it look like to move in silence? Do I need all the accolades? Do I need a pat on my back for me to go out and do great things, right? Those are the things for me. Now, we have a lot of people on this podcast, and I would tell you to chime in so you can get the information. Define for yourself, what is a Black leader? And then let's have a conversation about that. Secondly, let's start saying, where is the Black wealth at, right? And I was reading something today. It was about what is rich and what is wealth. And wealth says, what is happiness? I'm happy when I'm wealthy, right? So what are we looking for wealth, and how do we start to grow it so that we can have our own Project 2025? Ice Cube had the Black American Contract. What does that look like for us? They took a lot of money in Project 2025. They took the fact that they found some of the strongest white leaders in the country and gave them tons of money. And I had this conversation with you, see, Constance. I said, now imagine if I just told you, Constance, the only thing I want you to work on is real estate, and I'm going to give you $5 million a year to do it. I'm just going to give you $5 million, and I want you to go find the best people to talk about real estate development, and I want you to pay the best consultants so we can enrich our people. What does that look like? I don't know how much Project 2025 had, but if they had $100 million, they had a lot of people who could do a lot of research. So we got to start amassing some type of think tank fund for our people. And if that starts here. So I don't want to go on a soapbox, but I get very passionate about this kind of stuff.
That was good. And you think about that. So you said, real leaders can't be bought. And you think about leaders, the quote unquote leaders of today, they don't want to affect their pocket, but they don't want to affect their pockets. They don't want to take a knee. They don't want to stand on business. Every time you look at Nick Cannon, when he said something literally about just Black people being the original Jews, what happened? They silenced that man. When you look at who was that in basketball, when he talked about, I watched a movie on Netflix about Black people being the chosen people, they silenced him. He got fined, right? So then there's a selective outrage even amongst the Jewish people, because then you have Elon Musk that does a whole Hitler anti-Jewish salute. Where's the Jewish outrage? You got to think about that, and why, and you got to also wonder, why are we the ones that are targeted every time we open our mouths? And they make sure, just like, remember during slavery, when that one person would try to escape, they would kill them, they would torture them, they would cut their foot off, they would do whatever to use them as examples so that the rest of you Negroes don't get no ideas. So nobody today has the courage to speak up, to stand up, to get up and do something different. Nobody. You think about all the Black millionaires and billionaires who have some sense. Is anybody doing anything to effectuate change?
I think we wait for the wave. I think we wait for it to be trendy. It was very trendy for us at some point to vote for Obama or to support Obama. But think about before, he got that public acceptance. Black people wasn't really rocking with Obama. Same for Kamala, right? And then we understood that it was okay to support her, and then we went on. But I think about what we did when we gathered all of that money overnight for Kamala's administration, like for her campaign. And I just wonder if and this is my question, I guess, for Mark, like us having, actually both of our guests can answer, how can we, because I think we just need a goal. I think Black people just need to be told what to do, when to do it, how to show up, and maybe have somebody that can, like, give them that preacher to the take them on, like a church preacher, take you to the river and let you drink. But I think if we're told what to do and collectively we understand the assignment, we usually do it, right? We came up with millions of dollars for Kamala. So I'm wondering, my question to you, Mark, is if how can we do that? How can we without it being a political leader, come up with a common goal for the Black community, and then come up with the funds for it, and then and then move that forward? Like, how is there an email address that we need to email? Like, what would be your solution for that?
That's a great question. And I think, the way I look at it is like, now that we know all this is coming, and we always knew it was coming. It never changed. I always said, the Democrats did it and they hid the policy. The Republicans did it straight to your face. So you always knew it was coming.
Right.
The question is how do we look at, and I have to change this my thought process to say, is there a silver lining in this, right? And how do we take full advantage of it? Uh, One of the things that I was very focused on, and I was like, we have to try and start building up our future generation. Because I always say that, hey, at the end of the day, I should be okay. I did all right. My children should be okay, but I'm concerned for my children. I woke up today with a thought process. I have two daughters, and I was like, I questioned if they should actually have children in this current place, or should I honestly be looking at moving to a whole nother country? Like, I actually looked at dual citizenship. And so those thought processes coming through my head challenged me to think, like, where are the silver linings at, right? So the work I do now is I made the vast majority of my money doing construction, right? I was a hands-on trades guy, labor guy, went to college, got all the degrees, the MBAs, but I made all my money doing a trade. And I started looking around and I said, where are the Black men and women in construction in the state of California, where our average laborer, the guy holding the stop sign, is making $80,000 to $90,000 a year? And that is predominantly dominated by a Hispanic workforce. And I said, interesting enough, the question becomes, he's trying to get rid of all the Hispanics based on this immigration reform. And is there a way for me to empower this next generation of construction leaders to take advantage of that opportunity, right? And so sometimes I think we have to look at, when we see this coming and it's about to drastically impact another group, how do we take advantage of it? And so for me, it's empowering our next generation with the thought process, what it looks like. We have to start shaping what they start to see within our own children's mindset of what Black success looks like, and not be empowered by, like, the realities of reality TV and the painting pictures that I'm looking at three queens on this show. And if I actually grew up in today's era, I would think that all of you guys would be in a cat fight at a restaurant, right? And that's how it's shaped, right? And so, I always say, when they put me in the grave, I want them to say Mark led a legacy that he was going to continue to build up his people, so that the people who came to my funeral spoke about me in a well-being. So I'm an alpha man, 1906, the oldest and the coldest. And we have this philosophy called push and pull. And the concept is, like, as we continue to be pushed forward, we actually have to turn around and pull people up with us. And so the amount of wisdom I have now is I have to give that back to the next incoming generation. And that wisdom now is completely different than what my mother and my father grew up with.
Yes.
And so if we're having these conversations right now, what are the conversations we're having at table talk with our children and our children's friends about what's going on in this country? So I would say the conversation starts at home with your children and in your community, and giving back to those resources where you know the kids aren't seeing you in the room, right? We see a lot of Black women doing this work, and this is for the men on the call. Are we seeing the Black men going back and doing this work as well? And so that would be my charge to us all, is to go back and do some of this work to come back where we came from.
And I know there are many Black men like Mark. I know that there are many powerful, strong Black men like Mark out there, just like Mark, intelligent Black men like Mark that want to make a difference. Mark, I know you got to go to a meeting, baby. I love you, and I'll hit you later. Thank you. We're gonna continue this conversation because we can't get to a solution in one day. So we're gonna continue the conversation. Go ahead and handle your business, and I'm gonna holler at you later. But thank you so much for being on this call.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
Yeah, for sure.
Bye-bye.
So to double back on your question, Tiara, to Kim, we got behind Kamala in 24 hours, raised millions of dollars. AKs came together. They said, hey, you remember, you and I were together. We were at a barbecue. We started getting text messages saying, hey, there's a Zoom call at 7 o'clock. Everybody get on this call. We got on the call, but we couldn't get on at first because they ran out of room. Then it was 40,000 people on the call. And then the next day we had the whites for Kamala and the men for Kamala, and they raised so much money because they had a common goal. What is that one thing that Black people can get behind? Because I think that's the problem, is that there's all these ideas because we have so many problems. There's so many problems within our community. But you know, when you had the Montgomery boycott, bus boycott, when you had the sanitation workers, they got behind one cause. What is one cause that we can get behind as Black people?
So I want to just very quickly bring the tie over from what Mark said. Mark mentioned in what he was just sharing the importance of our younger generation and our children, right? So to me, we've got to involve the younger generations, I mean our children, in the conversation. We cannot not involve them. We have to stop protecting them from that which they're faced with. When our forefathers were going towards the civil rights movement, you can best believe children knew what segregation and desegregation looked like, what they may have to endure. So that's one thing. But I think it gets down to equality, Constance. And not equality as it looked like in the 60s and 70s, but equality as it looks like in engineering, in AI, in education, in home ownership. That one thing that you just mentioned, if nothing moves our people in solidarity, like affluence, abundance, having, you know this is true when some of us who may be on Section 8 housing will spend $200 or $300 for Jordans for our children. There's a part of us that wants to be a part of the larger thing. And we grasp for whatever we feel would identify us as being a part of affluence, a part of the larger thing. So I think that one thing is the financial outlook for people of color, specifically for African Americans. You see my t-shirt? My t-shirt says the future is Black. I wear this t-shirt courageously. And to the grocery store, corporate America, to the bank, to the credit union, this t-shirt should not offend anyone. Just like the Jewish, just like the East Indian, just like Caucasians. I believe that Black people have a place in the future. So I believe that our future finances is that one thing, because with stable future financing comes stable future home ownership, stable future education, stable future innovation. To me, that's the one thing. And if we can do it for a presidential candidate, then surely we could do it for ourselves.
So I'm trying to think about so abundance of money. What does that look like? Everybody wants money.
It looks like our elected officials speaking on what's in front of them. What is the current legislation? It looks like our judges talking about mass incarceration and alternatives to incarceration. It looks like people like you, Constance, a voice in the media. It looks like those people with a microphone actually spreading the word of what the strategy is going to be and what it looks like. It's commonplace for us to say, you know, you can only eat an elephant one spoon at a time. But if one community and another community and another community, when people speak up to say, here is my need and here's what we can get behind, then we create the bedrock of what is to come for our future. But right now, and I saw in the chat, there's a lot of people commenting saying we don't have a vision. We don't have a mission statement. Everything that we teach, Constance, that you teach, and Tiara, probably that you teach to others about setting up their businesses. You need to have a vision, make it plain. You need to have a mission statement. You need a business plan. Black folks don't have that collectively. We did not sit down and write our vision. We did not sit down and write our mission statement. We have not sat down and wrote our business plan for us. And to me, that's what we need to do.
We got to have but what is the vision? We know, okay, so we know, listen, you got red, blue, Bloods and Crips. Money talks at the end of the day. When you look at other races, they have their packs. They put their money together. They put their money behind something that is going to move whatever their mission is forward. What is our mission? I just really want to get that down as Black people. So, you know, I always try to offer solutions, and I talk about collective economics a lot. We have to work with each other, but I'm still trying to figure out, and I know that we got to continue this conversation, Tiara, is what is that one thing? And I want to hear from the audience. What do you guys think that one thing that we can come behind to say, this is that one thing that I think we can all agree on? Because in our community, we have a lot of chiefs and not enough Indians, right? We have a lot of ideas, but we don't have a lot of people that want to follow the ideas. We have a lot of problems, but we don't have a lot of solutions. But what is that one thing? And I'd like to hear from you guys to say, okay, Constance, Tiara, Kim, let's get behind this. And I will tout it from the mountaintops and say, okay, let's get behind this one thing. Because, you know, here's the thing. I think we cannot wait on Kamala. We can't wait on a politician. We can't wait on the people who are bought by white America and white supremacy, because they just the puppets on a string. We have to collectively and individually on a grassroots level make a difference, have a plan, and then get together. That's the way that's the only way that it's really going to work, because we can't worry about what Oprah doing. We can't worry about what Michael Jordan doing. We can't figure out what all of these rich folks are doing. We have to do it. But I want to know, audience, and I want to know, Tiara, and I want to know, Kim, what is the one thing we could all get behind as Black people so that we can have a concerted effort to move our race forward? What is that one thing?
You know, that's difficult, because I just want to remind everyone, though, because we come and we give Black people the business. We ain't doing this and we ain't doing that. It's like the way we talk to one another, like we ain't shit. That's the way we talk to each other. It's like Black people can't get it together. They can't, you know. Just think about if somebody, every time you got up and was like, all right, I'm about to fight, somebody came and was like, bow, with a bat, over and over and over again. After a while, you would stop getting up. And so I think that there's just been this conditioning. And so what I would do is start at the mindset, right? Like, let's try to get over that PTSD of being hit over and over again. How can we get up? How can we undo some of the trauma that we've experienced as a community? How can we become trusting of one another? We look at each other like enemies. First of all, you see a Black person on the street, you go outside, you don't even speak to them. Like, how you gonna be a community? You don't even speak to the people when you walk past them. You see them as an enemy. Mm-hmm. You know, brothers are shooting each other because they don't see each other as brothers. The thing is that I know about white people is when they look and they see each other, they see their brothers, they see their family. We don't see that. So I would just say, like, if we can just start with the mindset is so important to me. Because we can't get money if we don't have the mind to do it. If we don't see each other as equals or family.
Tiara, you must be on. You're on to something, because I had mindset on in my notes this morning, because without without steps, without the bricks, right, of mindset, you don't even get to determination. You don't get to motivation without someone coming with the proper mindset. And Constance can tell you, I'm all about the kids. I'm all about the youth. I'm a firm believer that if we reach back and we build leaders from our younger generation, even when you look, you ladies are beautiful, but you'll see yourself getting a little bit winded, a little bit weird, but they have all the energy in the world. And if we were to pour into them the best of our community, the best of what we stand for, the best of what we want for them, and allow them in some cases to share the baton, I think that that's a beginning. And not only that, this may come across as a little bit corny, but I've been on this campaign of sharing empathy with our young people. And what does empathy truly mean? What does it feel like when you're empathetic to the next person? And I've been breaking this down. I mean, when I say I've been going in jails, detention centers, schools to teach empathy, it is my firm belief that if we teach young people just to see the other person, just to feel what the other person might be feeling, just to stand in their shoes just for a second, it changes how they treat them, talk to them, the opportunities that they give them, friendships. It changes leadership amongst them. It changes inclusion. It changes the way that they plan with one another, play with one another, build with one another. And I think that empathy is at the heart of most things. And it's hard to teach people empathy when they have a problem seeing themselves. But I've been taking that on. And I would love to see, I'm reading in the chats where people are making comments saying, it's our community. Our community isn't seeing each other. We don't respect each other like we used to. We don't care about each other like we used to. And I think that we really do need to start building mindset, as you mentioned, Tiara, to be able to even have people listen to a strategy, choose one thing. You got to have people to want to even care, to want to hear,
I like that. I like those two things that you guys both said: empathy, having empathy towards one another, because just like Tiara said, like, we always talking down on each other. Black people ain't doing this. I don't do business with Black people. I'm not. And then mindset. So it was like I talk about mindset all the time, but really a light bulb went off when you said that, because I think that's the foundation of what we need to do, is just shift our mindset. Somebody mentioned in the comments about post-traumatic slave syndrome by Joy DeGruy. I saw her speak, got her book, read her book, and it's a real thing, y'all. It's a real thing. We have post-traumatic slave syndrome. The Willie Lynch letters, like, he divided. That's how he was able to keep us in control, by dividing. You would have these slaves that would tell on other slaves that try to escape. You had slaves that Harriet Tubman would have to threaten to shoot, because they were so conditioned by the programming of the white supremacists, by massa. And we still have this today. So if we could each one teach one with this mindset shift, that's number one, right? I think that's the thing. Let's all get on code to know this. Black people were resilient. We love each other. We don't hate each other. We are brothers and sisters. We are not enemies. And we got to start working together. That's the only way we gonna make it. Because if now more than ever, now we know that the Democrats ain't never did shit for Black people. DEI, like Mark said, was just an initiative to use Black people, right? It was watered down. I was listening to Boyce before I got on here, and Boyce was like, I never been a fan of DEI, because it's never really been there to help Black people. It was there. The biggest benefactor of DEI, we know, were white women, or gay men. We know that. We've given away our civil rights. We fought for these people. These people voted against us and our interests, and they took our initiative that was meant for us. We never got it. So we know that the Democrats didn't give a shit about us. Now we have the Republicans that are basically saying, I don't give a shit about you. And not only do I not give a shit about you, but I'm taking every right, every freedom, every program supposedly that was for you. Okay, this was already there. Now they're telling us to our face. So Black people, what are you going to do about it? And the first thing we got to do is we got to shift our mindset about each other. What are we going to do differently as Black people? We got to love each other. We got to come together. We got to treat each other like brothers and sisters. And then we can start to work together to build wealth.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But
Woo!
it's a huge feat. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a tall task, y'all. What we're
Yeah.
saying,
Yeah.
it's not something we can do overnight. Most of us don't even know we're still imprisoned. You know, most of us don't even know. We think, you know, we don't know
Yeah.
we're in prison.
Wait,
Um,
look, Harriet Tubman said, I could have freed thousands more if they only knew that they were slaves.
that's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
There's a book by Riddle and Weber called Wicked Problems. And if you've never read it, Wicked Problem is a problem where social re-engineering won't work, scientific research won't work. There has to be almost a paradigm shift.
Mm.
And oftentimes, wicked problems can birth other problems.
Mhm.
But those that are willing to dismantle a wicked problem have to be courageous enough to be able to even deal with the problems that the solution for a wicked problem would happen. And
Mhm.
so, Constance and Tierra, I love it when you all mentioned that the mindset shift is probably the very first work that we're going to need to commit to as a people first.
Mhm.
And even in doing that mindset work, we're going to have to be honest with each other, right? Because within even us, there's some have and have nots. With
Mhm.
even us, there's some crab in the barrel mentality. With even us, there's a lot of secrets that we keep because we were told what happens in my house stays in my house. But we will have to expose those things,
Mm.
which creates other problems, but we'll have to address those other problems too. And
Mhm.
we can't grow weary, nor can we grow faint once
Mm.
we begin to address the mindset of African Americans. And I think, Constance, that's a great thing. And it's going to take more conversation. You're right. But
Yeah.
I promise you, with my last breath, I'm willing. I'm willing to work.
Yeah, I'm excited because I've said it even before January that I'm excited about a Trump presidency because a lot of stuff is going to have to just be peeled back. We're going to have some bumps and some bruises, but
Mhm.
finally, maybe just maybe just maybe just maybe we are going to get ourselves together. We're going to start depending on each other. We're going to start working together, and we see because just like Tiara said, we've been in a fog the last 50 years. The Democrats have had us fooled to think that they actually care about your black ass. They don't care about your black ass. They never cared about your black ass. We have to care about ourselves. White people ain't thinking about you. They're thinking about their families, their communities, their people. Black people think white people are coming to save us, and they're not. We have to look inward if we really want to change dynamic of our situation and our circumstance and our communities. We got to look here first.
Yeah.
Jews say we look to Jerusalem first. We look to Israel first. Black people, we got to look to black people first and
Mhm.
nobody else. We are
Mhm.
the only ones that are coming to save us, and that's
Yeah.
it. Once we
Absolutely.
realize that, we will be better off. And we are well beyond our time period. Tiara, you got something getting ready to come up in about 45 minutes.
I do. So, as you all know, if you know or you don't know, Fly Nubian Money, the podcast is next. We are live at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the Fly Nubian Queen Network. So please come and see us today. We are talking about Tabitha Brown saying that Black people should not boycott Target. And
Well, I
so
mean, it's the rest of our money.
what's so interesting? Well, you know what's so interesting is that I know Tabitha really well. She is a good friend of mine, and so I'm a little on the fence about this because I see where she came from and see where she is, and so we're gonna unbreak that because the question is, do we boycott, all of these companies, and if so, what's in place, like, well, how will we get the simple things if we can't go to Walmart or Target? So just more solution based conversations. I don't want to talk about the Trump administration for the next year of my life, but I definitely want to talk about what's happening, and again, keep creating this strategy. Again, you guys, if you came in after I said it, make sure that you send your business and your information to my email address so we can start building our own Black directory. I think it's so important. What we'll do is once we have a certain amount of people on the directory, we'll just start sending it out during shows, so you know where you can patronize Black businesses. Make sure that you put all the information in the chat, Black people. In the email, don't put your name. Like, I had people just send me the link with no name, just email me, right? Email me, send in real email. So I know what it is and we can add that.
Yes.
Add your business to the directory.
This is solution-based. We're solution-based. We are solution-based. And I love that about you, Tiara. I love that you said, I'm gonna take action today. I'm not gonna sit around and just say, well, who gonna do it? Well, what's next? What is we gonna do? You say, you know what? Send me your information. And also for you guys who are on here, we got over 800 people that are watching right now live. Put your business, your product, or your service in the chat so that we can know what type of business that you have, so that we can interact together. Because the only way we're going to be insulated is if we start practicing what? Collective economics. One of my contributions to trying to close the wealth gap is through Black women. And I do that with the Net 7 Collective. Let me just tell you a little bit about it.
Attention, Black women. Yes, I'm talking to you. 2025 is among us. You have a unique genius that people will pay handsomely for, but you don't know how to monetize it. You want to build your network, but you don't really know how. You want to get out of that rigid 9 to 5 and become an entrepreneur. You want to be able to communicate effectively and tell your story, to sell your story, to generate passive income. You want to be able to build an entire ecosystem that runs fluidly and makes you money while you're sleeping. Well, these are the things that we do inside the Net 7 Collective. This is where I'm helping Black women from all over the country that are brilliant, just like you, and looking to monetize that brilliance. The next cohort is coming up soon.
Okay. All right. Tiara had to go. But listen, Kim was part of the Net 7 Collective. What was your experience inside the Net 7 Collective? Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay.
My experience, it really, first of all, it let me see the faces of women that were like me. It also gave me structure, ideas, strategies, and some talents that I hadn't tapped into myself, I would have to say. The objectivity of Net 7, it created a safe space for me, even as an entrepreneur, as a public speaker, as a founder of a nonprofit, to learn. I mean, to really dig down deep and learn, re-engineer, re-strategize. And it gave me a reset that was sorely needed, And I'm very appreciative of the Net 7 Collective and the friendships that I made.
Look, y'all, I didn't even tell her that I was going to ask her, and nor did I ask her. Did I tell her what to say? So thank you so much for that.
Absolutely.
Our next cohort starts in 2 days. And so I'm interviewing people. Go to, we have a new link. It is Net 7. If you want more information, we start on Wednesday. I'm interviewing people the next couple of days. I got several interviews today, maybe tomorrow. But if you want more information on Net 7 Collective, go to Net7BBS for Black Business School.com. But that's my contribution, y'all, to trying to close a wealth gap and try to make an impact and try to make a change. That's through Black women. But also tonight, y'all, I am doing a training. Dr. Boyce and I, through the Black Business School, we decided to do a training basically because there's so much controversy around this whole initiative with the DEI. And we said, well, what can we do? What is it that we could do? So I'm doing the Think It, Build It, Monetize It masterclass for aspiring entrepreneurs. And what we're going to be talking about tonight is a lot of you have ideas in your mind. You have a unique genius that maybe you don't know how to get out. We're going to talk about it. We're going to learn step-by-step strategies on how to monetize your idea and create multiple revenue streams from it. And you are going to gain the confidence and the tools to take immediate action. Listen, so it's one thing to have an idea. A lot of people have ideas. Kim, do you know that they said the graveyard is the wealthiest place on earth because people leave with so many ideas?
Listen, sis, you've said a mouthful with that one, and I'm praying that I'm not one of those people.
Seriously. So y'all, honestly, Kim, you know, because you're a personal friend of mine, my whole mission in life is to help Black people in any way that I can. I just want to do my part just to help us to close the wealth gap. I don't know. I was a BSU president in high school, Kimberly, and we had a grade gap. our collective grade in the African American amongst the school was like a D minus, and I even in high school I was like, how do we close the grade gap? Like my mission has always been to uplift and empower Black people. That has been my life's goal. And then when I got into real estate, it was really it wasn't even about just calling 100 people and making these appointments and selling you a house. It's always been about how do I serve you, your mama, your auntie, your brother, because I knew what real estate did for me. Having properties, how it's helped me like in the times of trouble. I have one of my clients right now. She called me last night. She goes, Constance, I'm struggling. I got these 2 properties. I got 1 duplex, 1 single family home. What should I do? And I'm like, there's no reason for you to be struggling if you got something with assets.
Yeah, if you own property.
So she said, if I sell it, I won't be able to restart. And I'm like, but look, you are in a unique position that most people aren't in. Let's sell one of the properties. Let's sell the ones that you're getting the least amount of cash flow from. Let's sell it and let's pay off your bills. Let's get you in position. Let's get your credit right. Let's get you all together and let's buy another property. She invested in real estate and now she has that opportunity. She was unemployed for a year and it put her in a very precarious position. But these are the benefits that you have when you have home ownership or when you're able to build your assets. When I met you when I moved to the DMV area, and I'm telling you, me and Kim, we hung. First year we was out. Kim knows everybody in DC. Like,
no, I don't.
She introduced me to everybody. And so I got to meet a lot of cool people, and she's so well connected. And the reason why someone introduced me to her is because they were like, this is who you want to hang out with, because she's so connected in the area. And the impact, if you could just share a little bit of your story. She has a really tragic story of what happened to her son and the reason why she is so motivated to help the youth. I just want you to share it a little bit, Kim.
Sure. So I want to say, first of all, thank you so very much, Constance, for this space. Because there's some people that talk the talk, but they never bring things to fruition. But you've actually brought this space, and it actually exists for people like me and Miss Tierra, and you being a mentee of Boyce, and bringing intelligence to a space where people can comment and they can get feedback. You just don't know how obedient you are to your very own mission. So I wanted to put that out there and to really, really thank you and give you your flowers, right? When it comes to my story, I'm gonna make it very brief. I was living the life. We moved to Prince George's County, the #1 affluent county for African Americans in all of this United States of America. I did not know that when my family settled here. Ultimately, I became executive manager with Verizon, who when I joined was Bell Atlantic, and climbed the corporate ladder. So I was making my 7 figures in 2003, right? Living in the upper crust of Prince George's County, right in Fort Washington, a matter of feet from the Potomac River. At that point, though, when everything was looking good, my health took a turn for the worst. My family was focused on my mortality, as was I. Insurance was in place, and all of those things were in place. And a month, right when I got my central line taken out, because I couldn't even eat real food. Right when I got back on my feet, at this point, I'm weighing 91 pounds. My son, tragically, 12 years old, we lost him. He died on the construction site of the National Harbor in 2007. So that was a blow to my family, because that's not the direction that we were looking towards. That's not what we had laid our strategy for. You see, that's not what we had prepared for. And being good stewards, we were prepared for our own mortality as parents, but never were there any conversations about losing a child. That not only did it impact my family, but it impacted this county, because it was very political where my son passed away. So elected officials got involved. The governor got involved. There was different people that were for this property and for this development, and people that weren't. And it became a political agenda, my son's death. From there, I left Verizon and I started a nonprofit in his memory. And we've been running that nonprofit for 17 years, where we've raised we're approaching $500,000, but $850,000 pledged to send kids to summer camp, to send kids off to mentoring experiences, to pay for it with every cent going towards the development and empowerment of our youth in the DMV area and abroad. My business partner, Clovia Lawrence, who was his godmother, she's on the air on Radio 1, which is owned by Kathy Hughes. We met during radio, so we went back to what we knew. In our grief of losing Alexander, we asked, could we host a radiothon on the radio? And back then, the general manager, she knew us personally, and she knew Alex personally, and she knew that we knew how to do it. So she allowed us to do that in the summer of 2008. And we continue to do that, raising hundreds of thousands of dollars to merely change the trajectory of kids' lives just in their experiences and exposure. Fast forward to today. That turned and went from summer camp to gun safety to college education, to workforce readiness, to all things safety, to safe life teaching kids how to make safe life choices. We start in the elementary schools. We go on to colleges, and I speak publicly across the country now. That's my mission. But I will tell you where Constance was the gift in my life. I'm a 2-time breast cancer survivor. I lost my son. And in my mindset, money did not matter anymore, because money could not have fixed those things that hurt my life and my family so greatly. And I attribute Constance to changing my perspective on that. I really attribute that to her, because I'd lost all faith in what money meant and what finances meant, because it could not help me. It could not dry my eyes. It could not get me off the floor. It could not help me with my family. It could not help me with my son's father. It could not help me save my marriage. It could not. No check. But she really worked on rehabbing a person like me to understand what financial freedom means, even with a person that's gone through what I'd gone through.
Kimberly, and we've had extensive conversations, and I love the way, you're able to project in such a matter of fact form. I really need you guys to understand how terrible of a loss that is to lose a 12-year-old son. Like, this is pain for her every single day.
Every day.
Of the hour of every day. And then she had breast cancer twice. And then she had some stomach, like Kim has been through it.
17 surgeries, 17
surgeries.
Yep.
And here she is able to articulate it in such a manner. But one of the things she told me, and if I could share this, Kim, you said, I didn't believe that I deserved to have anything because my son is gone. And what good is it for me to have all of these things and my son is gone? And I feel guilty being able to celebrate and to be able to do all these things because my son is gone. And she started all the nonprofit in his name, and she's doing all these things for everybody else. But then she felt like she wasn't worthy or deserving because now she lost her 12-year-old son, which is, I couldn't even imagine. I want to cry just thinking about it. And so what we talked about is, first of all, you have 2 other children and grandchildren. And if not for them, then who? You still have surviving children that need you to, to be that, to build wealth for them, to leave a legacy for them. You still have those people. And then you have yourself, because you do deserve it. You do deserve to be able to, because God left you here for a reason. 17 surgeries later, breast cancer twice, all of the things that you've been through, obviously God left you here for a reason. And so it's time for you to make the most out of your life and to be able to show people what it takes. And that if this could happen to me and God can bring me out of this, guess what? He could do the same thing for you. So Absolutely. You deserve it. And then other people who are going through the same thing can look at you and say, you know what? Kim came from the bottom and the most heartbreak and suffered just tremendously. But if she can make it through, so can I. And you are.
That's why Net 7 was so important to me. And this masterclass, I would imagine, this is just me. I would imagine people that's interested in coaching and interested in a Net 7 collective may say to themselves, but I'm already at the top of my game. I'm already an entrepreneur. I'm already successful. I don't need anybody coaching me any further. Or I don't need to attend a masterclass. Well, I would not have known that I had an issue with finances for myself had not Net 7 peeled that back for me. Because Constance knows I've worked for not millionaires, multimillionaires.
Yeah.
I've worked for people with
been in the most grandest places in the
grandest. Yes. And I have sat in circles with people whose wealth is that's wealth with no end to it. And I've been responsible for those people. But never once did I find myself worthy enough to ask them for anything. I did my job. I submitted my invoice. I got my check and I walked away. So that's why you need to be in a Net 7. That's why you need to be in a masterclass, because it unlocked those things for me.
Yeah. Girl, you don't look like what you've been through, but you are a true testament of what is possible. God has truly, truly, truly blessed you. And I'm just happy that I can be your friend and we can share these moments that we've shared. We've shared many, many, many moments. And you're so dope. You are so freaking dope.
As are you. And as are these people.
Here's what I do tell her. Dang, because I listen. So Kim and I talk, and I listen to her talk, and I listen to her diction, and I listen to her choice of words, and I just, first of all, she'd be having me cracking up when we be talking, but I'm like, girl, you are so smart. And she'd be like, you really think so? And I'm like, yes, because I listen for intelligent people. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I listen to those the words, and I listen to the like the big words you say, and then I'll go and I'll be looking them up. Okay, now I'm gonna put my vocabulary because she said this. Like she's so I like listening and talking to really, really brilliant minds, and you are truly, truly one of them. Thank you for embracing me when I moved to the DMV. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for loving me. I'm gonna tell you this. One time when I was at my house, I think I was somewhere, and my kids couldn't get in the house, and I was like, damn, I can't get my kids in the house. She was like, what do I need to do? She's way in Fort Washington, which is like 35 minutes away or something. And she was like, what do I need to do? And that's
I was coming through the window. I was coming what? Go get the kids first. What?
You was gonna do it, but I was able to get out wherever I was. I don't even know where I was, and I appreciate that about you. I really do. And so, you have friends that are there for a reason, and she's definitely been my friend for a reason, and we were put in each other's lives for a reason. So I appreciate you. We got to get off because they got to get back. They got to get on this channel in about 30 minutes, and they're going to have their conversations. But look, y'all, tonight, if you have not signed up for the masterclass tonight, I think there's going to be from what I've seen, there's about 500 or 600 people that have signed up for it. I want to be able to answer your questions. So go to thinkbuildmonetize.com and get on the call. Thinkbuildmonetize.com. Click on that. Register for the training, and let's talk about, with all these DEI initiatives, let's get off the fact that we are depending on these white folks to save us, because they're not going to save us. They don't want to save your black ass. And let's look to ourselves. So if you have an idea, let's get that ideation to monetization. Kimberly, I'm gonna have her back on here. I think they love you. I'm gonna have you back on here because you're so smart and I love talking to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And make sure every time I come live every day. So text Constance to 87948 if you want to get notified every time I come live. I come live every day, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, every single day. Well, Monday through Friday, not every day like Boyce. Boyce was trying to give me 7 days a week, but I was like, nah, partner. I can do 5, but I can't do 7. And so I'm here every day. If you want to get notified every time I come live, make sure that you text, and then make sure that you listen to Fly Nubian Money. They're coming on next. I'm on there Tuesday through Thursday, so I try to have some engaging commentary, and I curse a little bit. My daddy be getting girl. Let me tell you this, and we can get off. My dad saw me cussing on Facebook, and went off on Facebook. So I was like, you know what? He don't see me. He don't watch the podcast. So I'm not gonna cuss on Facebook, but I'm gonna cuss on the podcast.
Yeah,
and
right.
Cussing on the podcast. And so now I'm still cussing. But anyway, y'all, you guys come back in 30 minutes and watch Fly Nubian Money as they talk about what's going on with these DEI initiatives. And then come back tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific. And we're going to talk about how you can take your idea from ideation to monetization. I love y'all. Take care and God bless.